Good morning, everyone. 3 things that you need to do immediately when you want to quit or abandon ship on your program. Let's get into that. It's TLS Tuesday. My name is Melanie Nelson. I'm the director of TLS, and I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited you're listening because there's going to come a point, if there hasn't already, right, where you are going to want to abandon ship. You're like, oh my God, like I'm just so tired of this, right? And so you're gonna want to have a cheat or just throw in the towel completely. I mean, how many of you have ever felt that way? I know that I think we all have, right? And so here's the 3 things you need to do immediately. You need to do at least one of them, but you'll really have the trifecta going on and you won't quit if you do all 3. So number 1, call your TLS coach or the person you're doing the TLS program with, your accountability buddy, right? As soon as you do that, you're going to have a great conversation. Everything's going to be great. It's fantastic, right? Number 2 is read or look at your goals, right? So some people like to write out their goals. Some people like to make a picture board or put a picture on the refrigerator or, have something to remind them what their goals are and what their goals mean to them. And so you definitely want to grab that and review it and get in touch with your goals. Okay. Number 3 is have a substitute, right? So oftentimes when we want to quit or throw in the towel, it has something to do with, not adhering to the eating plan, right? We want to we want to go off the eating plan, and so you can have a substitute, right? Maybe you can make a cauliflower pizza. Maybe you can make a let's see here, mocktail. Right? Or one of my favorites, because I used to be such a crackers and cheese kind of person, is have a substitute for crackers and cheese, which is really hard to find, honestly. And I don't like to do a lot of processed stuff. So all these fake cheeses, right? It's like, no, like there's like nothing good about that either in my mind, because it's like, if it looks like cheese and sort of tastes like cheese, it's probably not all that great for you. But anyway, have a substitute. One of my favorites is peanut butter and celery, like really good, fresh, crunchy celery, has kind of a salty flavor. And then you get the peanut butter and then you put some raisins on it. So you like fill the celery with peanut butter and put some raisins on it. We used to call that ants on a log when I was a kid. And it totally takes care of that cheese and crackers cravings that I get sometimes. And so that's comfort food for me, by the way. Those are the 3 things that I do and I teach my clients to do when you want to abandon ship. Call your coach, read or look at your goals. And number 3 is find the substitute for whatever it is. And maybe it's that you don't want to go to gym in the morning, right? You turned off the alarm and you're like, oh, and then you snooze too many times and now you don't have time. So now the substitute is doing 15 to 20 minutes of push-ups or squats or sit-ups or a combination just right there in your house. Don't even worry about going to the gym. Just get something in. And it's a substitute. Go for a hike or you're still getting activity in. It just might not have been what you had actually intended. And that way you can be like, hey, you know what? I did something. I was creating the habit. I'm staying the course, right? It feels good. It feels so good to do that afterwards when you do the substitute thing. You might want something, but you substitute it for something else. I think it's more important, you guys, that we examine why we want to quit. What leads to that point where we're just like, oh, screw this, just throw in the towel. I think one of them is, I think there's a variation on 3. So let's cover those 3. Cravings in private. So this is when no one's around and you can find things. You can go get things. Maybe it's because you're in the car and you're driving the kids around. Maybe it's because you're home alone at night later and no one else is around, right? You've done all your social, you've done your work, and now you're home alone. And these cravings come in private, maybe in your cubicle in the office. And you're like, no one will know. You know what I'm talking about, right? Here's what I want you to examine. Why do we want that? Is it because we're home alone and we're bored, or we're lonely, or we have some emotion that we don't want to feel, and so we stuff it with food? Is it because, we're it's like mindlessly doing something while we're driving around, or that you always have your little candy dish in the office, and why is it like a stress reliever at the office? So when you're stressed, you're like just doing this. So stress. So maybe we can get one of those like squeezy balls. Or I know one step in the right direction can be using the good, better, best principle. Can be gum, although I'm not a big fan, but it can be a substitute for now until you find another more productive stress reliever, right? And so oftentimes when it comes to us reaching for food or having those kinds of circumstances in private, it often has to do with what we're feeling: boredom, stress, lonely, sad, you name it, right? Or on the other hand, number two is the more happy side of things and the social side of things. That social pressure to just have one. One isn't gonna matter. You only live once. Why do you gotta be the person who's not drinking at the party? Those kinds of things. Maybe it's the importance of fitting in, or not feeling like you fit in suddenly with your current circle. And that can be a little bit disarming, right? And it can be hard for people. So why is it so important to fit in? Is it more important than your goals? Is it more important than the pain you're in to make you make the goals? Is it worth it? That's only for you to decide. And so oftentimes we have these dismissals, right? Like, oh, it's the holiday weekend. I'll just go off track on the weekend and I'll get back on Monday, right? Because it's, we know what's going to happen this coming weekend, right? And I feel like the big solution to this is really bringing your substitutes. Right? If you decide, hey, this is not worth it, I'm not going to fall off the bandwagon for the long weekend. I'm not going to partake in as much as I might have normally. And so I'm going to rein it in, and I'm going to get disciplined, and I'm going to do that by calling my TLS coach, looking at my goal statement, and bringing my substitutes, right? So whether it's your mocktail or your healthy snack or dish to bring to the potluck or the barbecue or the party, that's something that helps a lot, because then you're covered, right? And I love having, healthy snacks to introduce to people. It's actually kind of fun. Especially when they're really yummy and people are like, oh my gosh, this is really good. Yeah, this is not about deprivation, right? TLS is not about deprivation. We have incredible recipes on tlsslim.com for you to utilize and try. And the other thing is to give yourself just a teeny little bit of leeway and say, okay, so it's the long weekend. Maybe I'm on rapid results, but for this weekend, I'm going to be on sure and steady. So I'm going to decide which what might feel like originally a cheat is actually part of our sure and steady menu. So that way you're like, hey, I'm still on TLS, but I'm giving myself a little bit of leniency here this weekend. And so for 3 days, I'm going to allow myself to have a starch, or to have, those a whole grain, that kind of thing. So third reason why we often want to quit is we're feeling discouraged, right? Results are not happening fast enough. We don't think we're doing it perfectly. And so how could it be possibly working if we're not doing it perfectly? Except that it is. Because if you're doing better than you did, it's working. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? And that idea of perfection creates that discouragement that does not need to be there. Okay, so slow results, or feeling like you're not doing perfectly can really lead to that throw in the towel, right? That all or nothing mentality, that 100% or nothing at all. And that does not serve you. That does not serve your lifestyle, right? Because life is going to get in the way. And that brings us to number 4. Number 4 is we lost focus, because guess what? Life got busy. Life got in the way. We had drama come up. We, whether it was a parent that needed us, or a child that needed us, or, something happened at work, or you're just in a different situation suddenly and things kind of went to pot, right? It's easy to get discouraged because of that. But here's the thing, you just get right back on the bandwagon as soon as you possibly can. And it becomes, sometimes these situations that come up do end up lasting for weeks or months. And so what's really important as you do get back into a routine within your new routine. Okay. And again, how do you do that? Well, guess what? You call your TLS coach, you review your goals. And guess what? You figure out your substitutes, right? Hey, okay, it's not going to look like it did last month because my life's completely different now. So I need to figure out how it's going to work like this, because now it's different. And so when we're in resistance to that change, we're in resistance to it being different, we're in resistance to it not being perfect, and that we're not perfect, then we cannot move forward. Then we are in that kind of struggle where one foot's on the gas and one foot's on the brake. We want to do everything right, but we don't want to do, but we know we can't. So it's all on the brakes. And really, you're just creating a lot of smoke. You're burning out the engine. You've got, all kinds of negative emotions going on. And that is no fun. It's not good for you. It's not good for the people around you. And again, it's not good for your TLS lifestyle. So rather than spiral down into these 4 major reasons people tend to quit, is as soon as that kind of feeling comes up, as soon as the situation comes up, remember, call your TLS coach or accountability buddy. Because a lot of times when we're bored or we're in private and we're looking for food, it's because we actually want connection. And that's where calling somebody, even if it's not your TLS coach, even if it's not your accountability buddy, call someone you love or haven't talked to in a long time, and connect, because that's often what we really are looking for. It's not food, right? Food's just a Band-Aid. But if you call and connect with somebody and get in a great conversation, guess what? Goes away. The desire to throw in the towel, quit, eat the whole bag of chips, whatever the case might be, right? And I can only talk to all of this, you guys, because I've been through it. All right. It's been years since I've struggled with a lot of these things, but I did for years struggle with so much of this. And so when I say review your goals, if you don't have your goals in some shape or form in front of you, that's visible. And I'm not talking about the number on the scale. I'm not talking about the amount of weight you want to lose. That is not the goal. That is the byproduct of action. The goal is how you're going to feel. The goal is how life is going to be different, right? Is it that, your kids just had their kids and now you're a grandparent and you're going, oh my gosh, like I better get my health in order. I want to take my grandkids to cool places. I want to be able to, walk through Disneyland and be okay. I don't want to hold back. I want to be there. So that's your why. That's the reason why. Now, there might be a number goal, but your reason for that goal is thinking about all of those things you're going to be able to do with your grandkids. And maybe it's that you were an athlete in high school and you felt amazing and you were powerful and confident and athletic. And now you just like, whew, where did that go? Who is that person? They seem so far away. I want to get back to that person. Again, it has nothing to do with the number on the scale. It's how you felt. It's the person you felt you were and are and still am somewhere on the inside. And that is why. That's the reason. It's how is life going to be different when you're walking through life feeling like that person again, right? More confident, stronger, happier, more fulfilled. A lot of times, our goals have nothing to do with numbers on scales. They have to do with how we're going to feel. And that's what's important to get in touch with when you're feeling like throwing in the towel or quitting. You guys, I hope this was super, super helpful for you. I'm so glad you patched in to listen. Feel free to share this, of course, and let us know if there's any topics in specific that Suzanne and I can cover with you on our TLS Tuesdays. I hope you have absolutely fantastic week. We'll talk to you later, okay? Bye for now.